Myself, Shomitra Chakravarti, a technical consultant of Appsi Connect, and with me is today Mr. Arun Agarwal, a web performance and CRO consultant and a CEO of EBS India. So he'll be mainly speaking of the tips and tricks of how you can increase the conversion rate of your e-commerce store. Now I pass the presentation to Arun so that he can demonstrate all the skills to you. Hi Arun.
Hi everyone, I'm Arun. I'm a web performance and CRO consultant, as Shomitra just pointed out. Very good morning or good evening to you based on what time you're listening to this webinar or just seeing it live. To introduce this topic that we are going to discuss today, it's a very interesting concept of the conversion on your e-commerce store. So you have got set up an e-commerce store, you've got your products listed, and now you want the sales to be rolling in. And what is important is that if you make some suitable settings on your e-commerce platform or on your store, then you can see many more sales from the same number of visitors. So the agenda is on your screens. What we would be covering today is the first thing is we would be discussing quickly what is CRO exactly and what time is the right to do CRO. Should you do it now or you'd rather wait some time before you take up CRO activities? After that, we would be discussing like what is a good conversion rate for your e-commerce store. So how many of the visitors that you are getting through your advertising or through organic search, how many of them are actually buying and how many are billing out? The next item that we will cover is what are the key factors, how you can make more people buy, and how you can increase the ticket size for every customer. After that, we would be checking out some tricks for increasing the conversion at your B2B or B2C e-commerce store, so that whether you are dealing with the general people or the businesses, whoever you are selling to, what are the best ways to increase the sales from your store. Next, of course, you can see on your screen that we have A/B testing or split testing on your product page so that you can get better results. You must have heard the phrase always be testing, because if they are just buying a little or very few people are buying from your store, then you're not making enough money and your store may not be that successful. After that, we would be tackling the shopping cart abandonment, which is actually a very big challenge. There are surveys which say 70 to 80% of the people who add the products to the shopping cart but still do not buy. So that rate is around 70 to 80%, which is actually a very high abandonment rate. So you don't have to drop the ball now that they have added the product, and you would actually like them to be able to complete the checkout process. That is what we'll be discussing on that section. And of course, there will be some of the shelf tools that we would refer to. They will improve your results from whichever tool you are using to host your e-commerce store, whether it is Magento or WooCommerce or Shopify. At the end, we would be talking about how you can connect your e-commerce platform to some other software like the CRM, the ERP, and that will result in much better efficiency and much better results for your business. So let's kick in. What is CRO? As you can see, CRO is conversion optimization, conversion rate optimization, and this basically refers to how many people who come to your website, how many of them actually buy your product. They add the product to the cart, they complete the checkout process and become real customers. So if you've got 3 out of 100 visitors buying something now, and even using all these techniques that we are going to discuss today, if you can make it 4 or 5 or 6, then you will have much more sales. There is another metric that people on e-commerce platforms are interested in, and that is the average ticket size. So you can increase the value for every sale, and you can also have another metric, which is the sale value per visitor. So these things are also very important for the success of your store. However, we will not be discussing that today because this will involve cross-sell and upsell techniques, and even post-sale techniques. So that will probably not be covered today, and we would like to focus more on getting the sale on the first time. So let us see when you should start looking at CRO. My answer to this question is always, if you have a store which you just set up, or if you have a store which is running fine, it is the right time, anytime, to increase the sale from every visitor which you are getting on your store, because you're spending money, whether you're doing SEO or you're spending on AdWords or Facebook leads. Every time you've got to spend some money to get this visitor to your store. And of course, you would like to maximize this value and get the maximum number of people buying your things. So what is a good conversion rate? How much conversion you are getting from your store? Some people say, I don't get any sales. Some people are doing wonderful. But surveys have indicated that 2% to 7% is a typical number of people who come to the store to buy something and they actually end up buying things. If you've got better results than this, no problem, that is fantastic, congratulations, but you can improve it even more. And if your rates are below this band, then the tips which we'll be discussing, that will probably help you to bump up this figure to a much better number. Let's see what are the key factors which help you to get better conversions from your visitors. So we have loading speed of the site, which I actually, being a web performance consultant, focus a lot on. We want to make sure that the time before I can see your site in full glory is actually minimized to the best possible extent. And the moment they type in your URL or click to a link, they get to see your website. We'll also be discussing the design and layout, because the look and feel is very important. Your website has to look professional and smart. Otherwise, people are not going to buy things from you. The product page content will also be discussed. As a buyer, we have to answer all the questions. I have to get the answers to all my questions before I can actually click the checkout and take out my credit card. Lastly, we will be discussing the site search, because that is how I can get to locate my desired product very quickly. And based on that, I could possibly add more items to my checklist. So let's move on to the page speed optimization. How fast does your website load? Do I just type your URL or click on a link and wait for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds to even see the first glimpse of what you're offering, what your site is, or what your key products are? There are sites which load very quickly within 2-3 seconds. And then, as you can understand, most of the buyers have got multiple sites open and they are doing comparison shopping. So if your site is taking long time to open, they would not be interested in dealing with you, because it will look very unprofessional. So our tips for improving your page speed, first idea is to use HTTP2 on your server. If you're managing your server yourself, please find out what is the best way to get HTTP2 enabled on your server. Otherwise, you can talk to your tech team or the web host. But HTTP2 has become almost a very, very compulsory item in today's world. Earlier, people were using HTTP by 1 or 1.1, which actually allowed only 6 files to be transferred on a simple connection. However, when you use HTTP2, the system uses header compression to reduce the data transfer. It will send multiple files in a single connection, and everything loads much, much faster, and it gives a much higher security also. So using HTTP2 is almost a very, very important thing to do, and I would call it a very low-hanging fruit. It is quite easy to enable HTTP2 on your server, and if your web host is not allowing you HTTP2, looks like it is time to move on. Once you have tackled this aspect, then you should also consider using a CDN. What is a CDN? CDN, as you know, is a content delivery network, which is basically a network of a large number of servers spread geographically around the world. So if you're accessing a website which is actually hosted in US, but accessing the site from India, then if you use a CDN, then your visitors will actually get to download their files from a server which is either in India or somewhere very close, like maybe Singapore. Similarly, if a UK-based visitor accesses your site, but the site is hosted in US, then same thing happens. They get to download files from a local UK server, which actually helps in getting the site to download much faster. We mentioned some important and very popular CDNs like Cloudflare. You have Key CDN, you have got Max CDN, you have Akamai, which is a bit more expensive but very powerful. My personal recommendation is to use Cloudflare because they have a free tier. You can just get started with Cloudflare, and once you like it and you see that your results are improving, you could move on to their paid models, which start from $20 a month, and you can upgrade yourself, get better facilities. But even their free option is a very, very good option. I strongly recommend that you could check out Cloudflare. It is at cloudflare.com. And nothing to take away from Key CDN or Max CDN or other CDNs. They are all very good. What you need to check out is where your customers are primarily located and whether this CDN is having a presence there on that geography. Once you've applied the CDN and you've made your JavaScript and CSS and other files load faster, I strongly recommend that you use an image CDN again. So image CDN basically focuses more on serving your images in the most efficient fashion. Cloudinary is one of the recent entrants into this field, but they have actually grown very, very fast, and they even have introduced a new digital asset management system. But if you put your images on Cloudinary, and there are easy ways to map your image folder to Cloudinary, what it does is basically check which browser you are using and how much space you are allocating for the particular image. And it sends a reduced version of the reduced and matching version of the image so that it loads extremely fast, and it uses all the technologies which match the image format to your browser to make this transfer of images super fast. Another big advantage of the CDN as well as the image CDN is that since most of the images and assets are delivered through the CDN itself, there is very little load on the actual server, which allows you to save costs on more instances of Amazon AWS instances or whatever servers you're using. So you could possibly cut down on your server hosting fee by a big margin also, where you get better efficiency and you get lower costs. That's the fun of this. After you've applied these, there are some advanced techniques. Unfortunately, we will not be able to delve into the details of those techniques. But if you Google preload, pre-connect, DNS prefetch, or pre-render, then you will understand what are the best ways to leverage these new and upcoming technologies. The whole idea is that whenever you are accessing, whenever the visitor is accessing your server, then probably you have a third-party analytics tool. You may have lots of images. You may have banner images. So for the user experience, actually the particular images which are above the fold, they have to load first. The important JavaScripts have to load first. The CSS has to load first, and then only you want to load the videos or other images which are actually below the fold. This actually gives a much better user experience, and they have a feeling that the site is loading very fast, even though every asset might not have been loaded, but the screen fills up very quickly and they get to see all that they are interested in. Just to remind you, you have a chat window open with you, and based on whatever we are talking about, if you've got any questions, feel free to type your messages there, and we would be able to see the questions that you have. And once I have completed the talk, we would take up some of the questions which we have posted. There's no reason to worry about. Even if we are not able to tackle your questions over here, we will definitely be sending you a reply from our tech team to your email address. So feel free to type your questions, doubts, or whatever else you have. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the design part of your store. The look and feel. Don't you think this is the most important? When you walk into a store which looks very shabby, then you don't feel like buying anything, even though the products may be very attractive. So same thing with your website, your design, your layout of the site, how the elements are placed. That is actually very critical for the success of your website and the web store. So there are people who would buy based on brand or the look of the product. So there are other people who want to read the description in lots of details. Another set of people would be very interested to check out the reviews. If you've got strong reviews which really describe the success that they've got or the convenience that they've got by using your product, then possibly they would be tempted to buy your things. So how you place your various items, is it possible for me to locate the name of the product, the brand, the category? I can see lots of images. I can get detailed description of the product. If you handle it very well and if you've got a good design layout, then the people will be more intent to buy. You need to put your information in a crisp manner. However, it should be detailed enough. There are a lot of people who say, no, people don't read online. But I would say people do read if the information is useful and presented well. Now, I'm sure you're aware that almost 50 to 70% of the web traffic has now moved to mobile. People are accessing the websites or the web stores from wherever they are using their mobile devices. So you have to make sure that your website is responsive and it is very easy to use and access. I can check out the various products, quickly add to the checkout, the cart, and check out quickly. So whenever you set up a web store or you've already got an existing web store, you must make sure that you have accessed this website through a mobile device, a real mobile device, not a simulated device, because a real mobile device will probably have much slower CPU than your typical desktop CPU. So you have got to check your store on a real mobile device, access your store, add one or two items to the cart, and go right up to the checkout and maybe even buy the thing. So you get to understand what will be the user experience for other visitors who are coming to your website. At the end, I would say that you have actually got to cram lots of information on your screens, but at the same time, you must make sure that you also got a lot of white space so that there is a good visual relief and people do not feel overwhelmed. Okay, so let's move on to the product page, the individual product page, and how you design and place the product page is actually quite important to improve the conversion on your website. So my suggestion to everybody who is a website owner is to be your own customer. What you need to do is simulate where the customer had come to your website and with the mentality of buying some product which is available on this store, try to search for that particular product, see whether it sounds right, whether it looks right, whether there is enough information which is presented there, are there enough technical specifications given, can I see the image, because you have to show lots of images from different angles, because you will, as you can understand, electronically on a website, I cannot touch the product, I cannot feel the product. So you will have to need to fill up the lack of this touch and feel, and that is probably possible by giving very detailed description as well as giving images from different angles. You may even give an image of the product in use so that people can see how it is to be used and how it is to be taken advantage of. You have to put the technical details, you have to put the specifications and use cases. So a very good style of improving your product sales is to actually talk about which are the different areas, which are the different places where this product can be used. So if you've got a particular cleaner, you can actually show people using this cleaner to clean up their spaces, and that probably increases the urge to buy this and use it for myself. A very interesting thing again which I recommend to our clients is to put a lot of frequently asked questions. So whenever I am reviewing somebody's site or consulting with some client, I always tell them, please talk to your sales team and find out what are the 3 reasons people buy your product. Most of the people might say that, okay, they buy my product because it serves their need well, or it has the maximum number of features, or it is the cheapest product on the market. But what is the exact reason why people are buying your product? Once you have identified that, you can actually weave this into your description and also put this at the bottom of the page in the form of a frequently asked question. The advantages are many. Number one, the users will be very impressed that the questions are answered, because you're sure if I have any doubts left, I will not go ahead with the buy. So if you answered all my questions which come to my mind, the doubts which I have, then I will possibly be comfortable buying this product right away instead of coming back to check it out later. At the same time, there is a side benefit that if you got useful content in the terms of FAQs, it also improves your SEO, because then Google gets to see more relevant information about your product and possibly they would rank you higher. We will now like to talk about the site search, because your store probably has got thousands of products and people have to search to locate their particular product. So how powerful site search you can make, that will actually make the difference between somebody buying only 1 or 2 products or end up buying 5 to 10 products. You have to make it very easy to locate the product. Maybe somebody might be searching it by name or the brand or the category. There are people who search by the price band or even the color. Are you able to apply fuzzy search where I can only type in a rough description of the product and I'm able to locate matching products which are very similar to what I searched for, and I get across and get my product very easily. So these are all the changes that you can do to your site search and help the customer buy more products. Especially for things which are repeat purchases like consumables, if you can maintain a purchase history and then show the recently bought products, then you might be able to trigger some repeat purchases. If I see that I bought some particular detergent uh, last month, and if it is showing up on my screen, uh, the particular brand, the particular packing size, then I would be quite intent to simply click onto that product and have a quick buy. So that actually increases your chances of making a new sale very, very much. And you can also show the related products. I'm sure you are aware that Amazon is actually ruling the market in related search, purchase history, and search history fields. So if you've ever searched a particular product on Amazon, they would be showing you related products to those searches, so that you can, if you've not bought it for the first time, then the next time you could possibly go ahead and buy this very easily, maybe by a single click even. Of course, people are price conscious. So if you can apply price filters on your product screens and search options, so that people can limit their searches to the price band that they're comfortable with, it makes it very easy for them to go ahead with the decision. Now let's summarize the things that we have discussed. I think my entire focus for a new website will be to make the site load as fast as you can. There are surveys which say that even if you can make your site 100 milliseconds faster, then your conversion rate can improve by as much as 7%. Oh no, it's 1%, 1% for every 100 milliseconds. So you can understand that if you've got a very good server, if you've got a very good, highly well-oiled e-commerce platform, if you've got some good CDNs, then you can improve the site loading speed, and this will give you result once you will do the changes, and this will give you results for a long time. As we discussed, it's very important to load above the fold content first, and then you can lazy load the content which comes below the screen this will give a major boost to the user perception of your website, and that will help you get more sales and hold on to the visitors. This has been shown to demonstrate much higher figures for the time on site in Google Analytics or whichever other analytics you use. As we mentioned, you not only that you should use a CDN to serve your GIS and CSS files. At the same time, if you can use a good image CDN, then you will be able to serve the images also very fast, as I said, in the particular formats, and that will help you to improve the user experience even more. And the site search, that adds a lot of power to the user experience. So Mitro, I believe we would be answering the questions which people are asking over here, as well as if they are us through tweets. So
Yeah,
will you
yeah,
send
yeah,
the
Arun. Yeah,
responses by email?
yeah. We will definitely send the responses via email, and I have started answering the questions in the private windows as well.
Excellent. So I believe you are taking care of that while I go through the tips for improving the results.
Yeah, sure.
So let's move on, and now we can check out some of the tools which improve the result for an existing site. So A/B testing is something very important for a website to improve the results. So your website is already doing well. Now you want to bump up the conversion rate. How do you do that? So firstly, you will identify some of the items, and possibly you will say, okay, let me check whether the add to cart button, we can use a different color button and get better results. Or you could maybe check out the price. So if I give a 50% off or a bug off, which is buy one get one free, so which one is performing better in my case? You could also try out the different checkout processes, whether you will ask them to register first and then only complete the checkout, or you will allow a guest checkout. Same thing for the page layout, what additional images you can use, or whether changing the main product image or the layout of the screen is giving you better results. Those things also you can check out, and it will help you improve the results of your website. We've listed out here some of the items which you can test, like product headlines, the different images, the different angles for the images. Are you showing the product primarily, or are you showing somebody using the product? What kind of shipping you are offering? Whether you can update your forms or the layout of the forms. So all these areas allow you to do A/B testing, just to make sure that you understand. Every test will not give you improvement in the conversion. So there will be some tests where you will find that your results have not improved, and it may even have gone down. So you should relax and make sure that this is not a failed result, but actually you've taken a learning from here, that this is the approach, that it may not be working better in our case, and you can probably go back to the old version and try another thing. Some of the tools which allow you to do A/B testing are Google Optimize, which is of course free. You can use Optimizely. That's also a very popular tool. I believe VWO, or Visual Website Optimizer, takes the cake here, because they offer a large number of variations and possibilities for testing the different things. You could segment your test people based on their devices, or whether they are new visitors. So there are a lot of criteria on which you can actually segment your test clients and see how your new changes are working better. At this point, I would like to just clarify that there is a split URL testing as well as an A/B testing. So in A/B testing, generally what we do is we test different versions of items on the same screen. So you may probably test a blue button or a green button or an orange button or a red button, and see which one performs better. There is also a possibility that you create two different versions of your product page and then you do a split URL testing. In that case, you would be actually sending a part of your visitors to one version of the page and another part to the second version of the page, and see which page is producing better result, and then possibly you can go ahead and send all the visitors to this winner and get the overall conversion rate improved. Another area which is very important and you can test is you can check out how to improve your shopping cart. So, shopping cart abandonment actually. So there are people, they've already come to your product page, they've added the item to the shopping cart, but then they bail out. They do not actually complete the checkout process. Why does it happen? Look back and look at your experience of buying things through some of the popular shopping carts, and then you will possibly see that when you added the product to your shopping cart and when you wanted to check out, probably you didn't get a clear indication of what all you have put in the cart and what is the final price that you're going to pay. There are cases where you find that an additional shipping charge has been added to your shop by the shop to your product basket. So these kind of unwelcome surprises or something which you're not expecting actually makes people abandon the shopping cart. So what our recommendation is that you should have clear information whenever I am going to check out all the items which I have added to my cart, their description, their quantity, everything should be very clearly visible. If there is a shipping charge, then you should be able to tell me out there only what is the shipping charge applied to me. And if it is much better to make it free, of course, but that depends on your economics. If you can indicate how much time to ship and how much time it will take to reach me, that actually helps the person to take a final call and go ahead with completing the shopping. So whatever the orders are, the steps are there in your ordering process. So you could possibly see show that it is one of three, two of three, or three of three. That also increases the consumer's confidence in your web store, and more people actually complete the ordering. About the payments, everybody will not be able to pay through a credit card. So there are people in different economies and different geographies. Like there are some people who would possibly like to pay through PayPal because they can hide their credit card information from you or the third party processor, and they can simply make the purchase through PayPal, which gives them an extra shield of protection. So what you can do is you can actually check out different forms of payments. Credit cards, of course, is the default payment in most of the cases. But if you can accept things like PayPal, and in many economies, prepaid wallets are also getting very popular. Especially we see there are a lot of wallets in India. So these people have got some deposits in their wallets, or maybe they've got commissions or payments from other people, and they can go ahead and buy with the wallets. The biggest advantage of using tools like a wallet or sites like PayPal is basically it shields a person from sharing their credit cards, which is actually a big source of fraud. Not only it makes the thing easier for the customer, but I believe you are also shielded from a lot of cases and legal hassles if you're not even accepting their credit card details on your site. So that definitely helps you convert more and convert with confidence. To increase the confidence, as you can see, there are a lot of security seals. There are seals from SiteLock, there are seals from Norton, and there are seals from other websites, third-party security agencies, which increases the customer confidence that I can go ahead and buy from this shop, and there'll probably be a very little chance of a fraud happening. How much information you ask from the customer? So once you allow them to check out from your site, then probably you ask them to fill up a big form. So let's see, if you're shipping something, a physical product to their door, then possibly you need their shipping address. But I have seen sites which ask for my complete address even when I am buying a digital product like some software or some ebook. So for your website, for your store, you've got to take a call on how many fields on the form I can reduce. Every field which you take off from your form will probably help you convert a little more. And are you able to allow a guest checkout where I don't even give, I don't have to register or create an account, but I can simply give my address and my card details or my wallet details, and I can go ahead and complete the purchase. If you really need them to register for coming back or follow-ups, then possibly what you can do is ask them in the thank you mail to complete their profile, which makes probably them qualified for some kind of a further discount on the next purchases. At this point, I would actually like to turn over to Shaumitro, who could possibly talk about some of the extensions with the popular tools like Magento, Shopify, and WooCommerce, which make it very easy to increase the conversion rate by utilizing some standardized applicabilities. Shaumitro, can you talk about this CRO extensions?
Yeah, Arun, thanks for the awesome tips. Thanks for the awesome tips. So if you can make me the presented.
Just give me a second. I'll just pass on the control.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Arun. Till now, you have been learning all the tricks of the conversion rate optimization of your e-commerce. Now let's talk about some practical conversion rate optimization extension for your e-commerce. So let's start with Magento. So I have listed a few important extensions which can take your business to the next level. So in case of Magento, we have the responsive one-page checkout extension, which enables your checkout page to be a single checkout page where people can fill out a single form and check out easily. We have a Simply Translate extension which can translate your e-commerce site into any languages of the world where people buy, can use the native language to buy their things. We have the loyalty program extension in Magento, which can be used to enable the loyalty program membership in your website. Don't worry, this file will be available to you via email so that you can check the links of the individual e-commerce. For Shopify, we have multi-channel options where you can sell your goods over Facebook store or using Google Store. You can use the cross-sell and upsell extension for cross-selling and upselling your products. Like you're cross-selling a product in the shopping cart itself, so you can sell other products as well. You can use the abundant aid, which is an abundant cart optimization technique extension, which reduces some of the steps of the checkout process. For WooCommerce, we have live sales notification plugin, which can be used to get live sales notification for the visitors where people come and see that which things are being sold right at that time on the website. We have the affiliates marketing plugin, which are used for affiliate marketing, which will help you to create partners who can sell your products and get some commission. We have the very important Talk to live chat, which can be used in your website to chat with the customers to make their experience personalized. These are some of the practical CRO extensions which you can use for your e-commerce. Now, we have been talking of conversion rate optimization. Now, how we can use data integration with conversion rate optimization for your growth. So conversion rate optimization converts your visitors into customers. But what about the data entry you have been doing in other systems, like if you have an ERP or CRM or a POS. So using AppSy Connect, you can integrate two systems and exchange data between them. The data integration happens in real time so that you don't have to manually enter data in each system. So using AppSy Connect, you can integrate any e-commerce with ERP like SAP B1 or SAP ERP or Microsoft Nav, or CRM like Salesforce and Zoho, etc. So altogether with data integration and CRO, it will definitely bring an extensive growth to your business. So now I pass the mic again to Arun so that he can answer some of the important questions you have asked.
Yeah, thank you, Soumitra. We have got a lot of questions from our audience here, and let's try and cover some of the questions at least now in the session. Of course, as we have promised earlier, we would be answering some of the questions which we get later, and we will be also sharing our Twitter handle so that people can actually come to. So the Twitter handle is showing up on the screen. You can tweet your questions to @ebizindia, which is my Twitter handle, and we would be answering your questions. But in the meanwhile, is Dinah, which is asked, she's asking, is it possible to use a CDN with Magento? Yes, very much. So what you can do is you can use Cloudflare to sit between the user and the Magento site. And if you route your traffic through the Cloudflare or any other CDN, similar CDN, then what will happen is that while the dynamic part of the shop will be taken care of by Magento itself, but there are a lot of other static files like JavaScript and other support files. Those will be directly served through the Cloudflare CDN. And this will make your site load much faster. As I have mentioned earlier, it will also reduce the load on your server because Magento is a very database hungry tool. So a lot of database queries have to take place to serve every page. So some of the things which are taken care of by the CDN will definitely make the load on your server go down. As a result, you can manage with a low capacity server for a much longer time before you actually see the need to upgrade your server resources. The next question is from Paul. He says how to optimize images to reduce the page size in WooCommerce if I am not using a CDN. Yes, Paul, it's also possible to do so even if you don't want to use a CDN. So what happens is that a large number of people, they actually take a photo from a digital camera or a professional camera or a mobile even, and they simply upload these images into the WooCommerce products. So whenever the site is loading, probably you have got a small screen of 300 pixels, but the image may be 4 MB. So there are lots of tools which actually allow you to reduce the sizes of the images which are there in your WooCommerce store. One of the tools which comes to my mind straight away is called Short Pixel. It's a plugin for WordPress, and I believe it has got some 100 images. They do it free every month, but you can buy a very simple pack of some $9 or $9.99, and it will allow you to reduce the file sizes for about 10,000 images. I can tell you, in one of the cases I handled recently, an image of 4 megabyte was reduced to 167 kilobytes. You can understand the kind of saving that this site owner was doing with every image, how much faster his site was loading, and how much better UX he could offer now. The next question is from Dilip in India. He says, if I'm selling digital products, then should I straight away have a single step checkout or a typical shopping cart system? Dilip, good question actually. So most of the e-commerce platforms have a system where you add things to cart and then you check out from there. But if you are expecting people to buy a single product at one time, so maybe it's a software, then you can of course implement a single step sign out. So the guy, instead of adding to cart and then checking out from there, he can just simply buy it now kind of a concept you can apply, and that will make your sales process very fast and very small. So this will definitely help the customer to complete the purchase very quickly. Sumitra, I think there are a few more questions. Would you like to take, or we can go ahead
Yeah,
and
I think
send answers by email?
I think it is better to answer the questions via email so that they'll get more details. So I think we can call
So
it a
have you
day.
told our friends here who are participating this for the first time and maybe do not know much about Appsi Connect, how your integration from the e-commerce to the E or the CRM helps them in increasing their results and efficiency by reducing
Yeah,
lot of re-entry part?
yeah. As I told before, that using Appsi Connect, you can increase the efficiency of your business by enabling data integration between two systems. We connect any two systems out of the world, and we have a mechanism that makes data sync very easily between two systems, and you can do a lot of advanced features like the value mapping, the using then drag and drop systems to integrate two systems. So it's a very easy to use interface. And for more information, you can contact sales@insync.co.in for the details of the data integration.
Okay, so as Shomitra mentioned, for data integration related queries, you can contact sales@insync.co.in, and if you have questions on CRO or web performance, how you can make your website or e-commerce store load faster, get better results, improve the UX, then you can tweet a question to @ebizindia on Twitter, and I'll be very happy to give you a clue or a tip to improve your results. Of course, you can also email your questions to sales@insync.co.in, that is insync.co.in, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much for being very patient. I can see a large number of participants have been staying all through with us, and they went through the entire presentation. So really appreciate patience, friends, and all the best for much better conversion rates on your web stores.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.